of the day, beautiful people. All right. Top of the day. Let's get started. I am late. I think I'm almost 20 minutes late. What did I say? Yep, sorry people. I overslept again. It's crazy because I've been going to bed kind of early. I must have really need to sleep. Where's my other pen? Okay. All right, beautiful people. Today it is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It is October the 29th, 2019, day 267. We're reading 2 Chronicles chapter 8, 9, and 10. And we learned about the Queen of Sheba. So let's go ahead and get started. 2 Chronicles chapter 8. And it came to pass at the end of 20 years, wherein Solomon had built the house of Yahuwah in his own house, that the cities which Hiram had restored to Solomon, Solomon built them and caused the children of Israel to dwell there. And Solomon went to Hamath Zobah and prevailed against it. And he built Tadmor in the wilderness and all the store cities which he built in Hamath. Also he built Beth-horon the upper, and Beth-horon the nether, fenced cities with walls, gates, and bars. And Baalath and all the store cities that Solomon had, and all the chariot cities, and the cities of the horsemen, and all that Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem and in Laban and throughout all the land of his dominion. As for all the people that were left of the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which were not of Israel, but of their children who were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel consumed not, them did Solomon make pay tribute until this day. But of the children of Israel did not Solomon make no servants for his work, but they were men of war, and the chief of his captains and the captains of his chariots and horsemen. And these were the chief of King Solomon's officers, even 250 that bare no rule over the people. And Solomon brought up the daughter of Pharaoh out of the city of David into the house that he had built for her. And he said, My wife shall not dwell in the house of David king of Israel, because the places are holy, whereunto the ark of Yahuwah hath come. Then Solomon offered burnt offerings unto Yahuwah on the altar of Yahuwah which he had built for the porch, even after a certain rate every day, offering to the commandments of Moses on the Sabbath and on the new moons and on the solemn feasts, 3 times in a year, even the feast of unleavened bread and the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And he appointed, according to the order of David his father, the courses of the priests and their service, and the Levites to their charge, to praise and minister before the priests, as the duty of every day required, the porters also by their course at every gate, for so David the man of Yahuwah commanded. And they departed not from the commandment of the king unto the priests and the Levites concerning that matter, or concerning the treasures. Now all the work of Solomon was prepared unto the day of the foundation of the house of Yahuwah, and until it was finished. So the house of Yahuwah was perfected. Then went Solomon to Ezion-Geber and Elath at the seaside in the land of Edom. And Huram sent him by the hands of his servants ships, and servants that had knowledge of the sea. And they went with the servants of Solomon to Ophir, and took thence 450 talents of gold, and brought them to the king of Solomon. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. Chapter 9 of 2 Chronicles. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, she came to prove Solomon with hard questions at Jerusalem, with a very great company, and camels that bear spices, and gold in abundance, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions, and there was nothing hid from Solomon which he told her not. And when the queen of Sheba had seen the wisdom of Solomon, and the house that he had built, and the meat at his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, his cupbearers also, and their apparel, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of Yahuwah, there was no more spirit in her. Like, she was breathtaking. She was breathless. Like, wow. And she said to the king, It was a true report which I heard in my own land of thine acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not their words until I came, and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the one half of the greatness of thy wisdom was not told me, for thou exceedest the fame that I heard. Happy are thy men, and happy are these thy servants, which stand continually before thee, and hear thy wisdom. Blessed be Yahuwah, which delighted in thee to set thee on his throne, to be king for Yahuwah, thy Lord. Because Yahuwah loved Israel, to establish them forever, therefore he made thee king over them, to do judgment and justice. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and of spices in great abundance, and precious stones. Neither was there any such spice as the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And the servants of Huram, also the servants of Solomon, which bore gold from Ophir, bore algum trees and precious stones. And the king made of the algum trees terraces of the house of Yahuwah, and to the king's palace, and harps and psalteries for singers, and there were none such seen before the land in Judah. And King Solomon gave to the queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which she had brought unto the king. So she turned and went away to her own land, she and her own servants. And what they forgot to add in here, he also gave her a baby too. I'm just saying, but we know that. Verse 13. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, besides that which chapmen and merchants brought. And all the kings of Arabia and governors of the country brought gold and silver to Solomon. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of beaten gold went to one target, and 300 shields made of beaten gold. 300 shekels of gold went to one shield, and the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory, and overlaid it with pure gold. And there were 6 steps to the throne, with a footstool of gold, which were fastened to the throne, and stays on each side of the sitting place, and 2 lions standing by the stays. And 12 lions stood there on one side, and on the other upon 6 steps. There was not the like made in any kingdom. And all the drinking vessels of King Solomon were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was not anything accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king's ships went to Tarshish. With the servants of Huram. Every 3 years once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver and ivory and apes and peacocks. And King Solomon passed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom. And all the kings of the earth sought the presence of Solomon, to hear his wisdom that Yahuwah had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and raiment and harness, and spices, horses, and mules, a rate year by year. And Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the chariot cities, and with the king at Jerusalem. And he reigned over all the kings from the river even unto the land of the Philistines, and to the border of Egypt. And the king made silver in Jerusalem as stones, and cedar trees made he as the sycamore trees that are in the low plains in abundance. And they brought unto Solomon horses out of Egypt and out of all the lands. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, first and last, are they not written in the book of Nathan the prophet?